G'day, my name's Cozzy and we're at a place called Siem Reap, about 15 k's out here in Cambodia. A few years ago, I bought a cattle farm just up the road from here and set up a charity called Cows for Cambodia. But before I tell you about the charity and about the cows, I better tell you about Cambodia. Cambodia is home to almost 15 million people, with so many struggling on a day-to-day basis. How can us lucky ones in the Western world live our lives like we do while others struggle so badly? I believe that the Western world's far too wrapped up in material lifestyles. Cambodia constantly reminds me how irrelevant materialistic possessions are. These families have literally nothing, yet seem happier than we are. So, what can we do about it? Well, first up, I don't believe in handouts, but I do love to give opportunities. So that's why I started Cows for Cambodia. Our charity revolves around loaning cows to poor families. We are essentially a cow bank. We don't loan money, we loan cows. But we're also involved in helping introduce modern farming practices to this third world country. Pol Pot and the Khmer Rouge were responsible for 1.5 million Cambodians dying back in the late 70s, which actually wasn't that long ago. Whilst he wiped out around 1/3 of the population, he also executed all of the educated Cambodians. Teachers, doctors, tradesmen, all gone. Can you imagine losing 1/3 of your city's population, and those people all being the well-educated ones? It really has left Cambodia a little bit behind the 8 ball, and our job is to try to square that up. We've introduced irrigation to help grow food for our cows. We've planted one of the world's fastest growing grasses called king grass into the village, turning bare dry paddocks into this after just 32 days.
Hello, my boss. Please just have a look at our grass. I think the grass is really good. You just see here. They're really tall.
But perhaps the best way that we've helped the Cambodians in the village so far is by helping to provide free education at the local school. And that's what I'll show you next. Welcome back, folks. We're having a look around our charity Cows for Cambodia, where we actually take groups of Australians over here to help volunteer and work on our charity. This job is a massive one, planting king grass so that our cows are the happiest, healthy cows possible. Cows for Cambodia is all about loaning a family a cow. They get to keep the calf, which breaks the poverty cycle. So we've got plenty to do. Sabai. Every one of the families in this village in Cambodia would love a cow, but sadly, very few will ever be able to afford it.
She's well in calf, and I just put my hands on, feel the little calf's head bobbing up and down.
We loan them a pregnant cow, and then they get to keep the baby. If it's a girl, they can breed from it each year, and if it's a boy, they'll swap it over for a girl cow when it's older. So what's so important about having a cow in Cambodia? Well, cows they use in the beef industry. There's no dairy industry here, but they use them for a multitude of other purposes as well, including transportation and ploughing the rice fields. If you have a cow in Cambodia, you are set for life. And given that it'll produce a baby cow every year, that sale of that calf doubles the average annual income. Thus, one cow can break the poverty cycle. To help me work on the charity, 4 times a year I bring over Aussies that join me on fundraising tours. They help me raise donations and work on our village projects. It's awesome, and best of all, they get to see where their charity dollars are getting spent. You should seriously come along on one. Each tour group gets to see the hay being delivered for our cows. This is one of my favourite things ever. It's quite a sight. 5 bullock teams of cows rolling up with our hay. It's sort of like a scene from the 1800s, so primitive. Each truckload of hay cost me how much, do you reckon? Well, I can tell you, $20 a truckload. Well, or cow load. Lynn was one of the Aussies on this fundraising trip, and she tells us what it was like.
You just can't begin to describe it. It's out of all of our comfort zones. Speechless. Yeah, amazing. All the superlatives you can think of. Hard work, hot, but just amazing. We're all going to go home with so many stories.
Our tours are unlike any other travel experience. You're really truly immersed in village life, the real Cambodia. I love seeing the Aussies hanging out and mucking around with the Cambodians and introducing Aussie sports as well. Cambodians are very, very talented sports people, and it isn't long before they're getting the hang of any new sport.
Yes!
Cows for Cambodia isn't just about the cows and the farming side of it. We come across this school 3 years ago, a 3-sided shed that the Cambodians themselves built for $300. They offer free English lessons here every night from 5 till 9. So the kids actually go to their normal school and they're that enthusiastic to learn that they then come to this additional school for this free schooling. And I'm bang up for supporting a project like that. This is the Cambodians driving it themselves.
Stand up! Plastic bag!
There's only 2 people that speak English in the entire village, and they run this school as volunteers. That's right, they don't get paid, they do it all for the love of it. Sala, the teacher, tells us why she started this school.
Because I saw many kids in my village so poor, and then they can't have the money to study English another school, especially in the city.
The kids at this school are getting taught English because if they learn English, the chances of them getting employment in the cities is much higher. In fact, they can double their income.
I think when the kids they know English well, they can find a good job at the city, especially, and then they can earn money to support their family like me.
Welcome back, folks. I'm showing you around our charity called Cows for Cambodia. There's no fridges in the village where we work in, and ice is delivered every day, sometimes twice a day, only to those that can afford it. I just love the way they cut it up and hand it out. All through the villages in Cambodia, you see these really funky little shops like this that sell absolutely everything, but this one has blown me away because we got out and there's this pungent smell. It smells like rotten fish or something. And the reason that is because you can see the net behind us here. That black netting is obviously catching something. Well, at the top of that tree is full of bats. They're right in amongst the trees, so we can't show you. What happens is the bat goes to the toilet and the bat droppings falls down. They catch it here, they dry it. And then you can see here, out the front of her shop, if you're ever going to set somewhere up to sell bat poo, is right here. The $1 million question is, how much does 5 kilos of bat poo cost? $2.50. Oh, and they use it for fertiliser. Only 50% of kids in Cambodia complete primary school, and that's a stat that I want to help change. Our charity Cows for Cambodia doesn't just help families break the poverty cycle by loaning them cows, we also help with education. A A couple of years ago, my mate Tomo and I drove past this small school in Cambodia. Well, I say school, but it was essentially a 3-sided shed. But what I loved most was that the Cambodian families in the local area had saved $300 of their own money to build the school, and they were offering the kids free education. The thing is, they've outgrown this school, so we've brought this group of Australians over here to Cambodia to do many jobs, including this one, knock the old school down and build them a brand spanking new school. Righto guys, way you go.
When I started school, the first time we just 2 students coming to learn with me. And from 2 to 10, 10 to 5, until now 75 students.
We've only been going for like 25 minutes and already half the school is down. The plan tomorrow is even better than this because we want to build them a brand new school and we want to do it in one day. We actually bought these desks for the school last time we were here, and before that, half of the kids or even more used to sit outside on their bikes to take a school lesson. The coolest thing about this move of the old school was, I thought they were going to knock it down and sell it for scrap metal. This actually becomes the new village library, which I think is very cool. Could this be the ultimate form of recycling? We've just pulled down the old school and I've bumped into this lady here. She actually has one of our cows in the Cows for Cambodia program. She's come over, she's seen us pulling the tin off, and she said to our translator, is there any chance of getting 3 sheets of iron? So we asked her what the iron was for, and it's to build a little house on her house so that the cow is sheltered during the wet season. So she gets 3 sheets of iron. Bye. Happy days.
Oh, thank you very much. You bake?
Nice cows.
Beautiful cows. One, two, three.
The Cambodians love hanging out with the Aussies that joined me on the fundraising trips to Cambodia. I do 4 trips a year where I personally host groups from Australia over here to Cambodia. You should come along on the next one. They are loads of fun and very rewarding. It was a pretty intense arvo pulling down the old school and preparing the land for the brand new school. My group of Aussies, well, they absolutely nailed it. Guys, to say thank you for all your hard work, and I know it's been hot out here. We've actually gone and sent some of the girls off on a shopping trip to actually go and buy some coconut trees and some mango and jackfruit trees, just to say thank you for all your hard work, albeit we bought them with your donated money, so you're actually thanking yourselves. But we'd like to give you each a tree, and we want you to choose a spot in the farm here to plant it, and then for years to come there'll be fruit bared from these trees, so it's a pretty cool thing. What do you reckon? Hazel's always had nice coconuts, hasn't she, to be honest? Hang around, because up next we see if we can build these kids a brand spanking new school and do it all in one day. G'day, my name's Cozzy. 3 years ago, I decided to ditch all of the materialistic possessions in my life and actually focus on what really mattered. I wanted to do more for those less fortunate than myself. So, I bought a cattle farm in Cambodia and I set up the charity called Cows for Cambodia.
One of the coolest things about Cambodia is you can do so much for so little. Like, this whole school is only costing us $3,200 US. So, it's just awesome, you can do heaps. And I love the fact that I can now bring Australians over here to help me do these jobs.
My favourite part about the building of the school was when those frameworks went up and actually seeing the structure coming alive, you know, and being part of that. It was just amazing, incredible.
If you're interested in coming over to Cambodia and helping us with Cows for Cambodia, then you are more than welcome. We've got groups coming over here to make sure that this charity just keeps growing and growing.
The Australians and Cambodians were working flat out, so we shouted everyone fresh coconuts, as you do, at 50 cents each. That's a bargain. This lady was actually on her way to the city to sell her produce. How pumped do you reckon she was when we said we'll take the whole lot? There's no better drink in the world than fresh coconut milk straight from the coconut. Sala, the teacher, is one of only 2 people that can speak English in our village, and she tells us what it was like when we told her that we were going to build her a brand new school.
Oh, I have nothing to say about my feeling. I just to say very, very happy, and it is exciting for me, and because I think the school is very important for the kids that live around here.
I'm so proud of this school. When I first ran into it, there was only 16 students that were studying here, getting free education. It's just got bigger and bigger and bigger, and now there's well over 100. Most of these kids ride or walk for miles to get the free education that we now offer. Now, last trip, to surprise the kids using your donations, I bought them the biggest trampoline I could find in Australia, and I got the Aussies on my fundraising tour to assemble it. It's amazing to think that lots of these kids have never been on a trampoline before, let alone even seen one. I love knowing that now their studying at school is made even more fun thanks to a bit of play equipment like the trampoline. I always look at these kids and I think they are so keen to learn, they just want to study. And why should these kids that are so keen to be educated be denied of an education purely because of the place on earth they were born? Life is so unfair. I think that all of us watching right now have basically won the lottery of life just by being born here in Australia. My goal is just to make life a little bit fairer for these kids, and whether it's a textbook or a trampoline, they're so appreciative. I bring over 4 groups of Aussies every year on fundraising trips to the village here in Cambodia. And you get to help me with some fundraising, and you also see where your money got spent. I say, don't donate, participate. And best of all, you can come over and do as much or as little as you like.
Every single Australian that's watching this right now can offer something to the Cambodians. We've got a bit of a reading class here, and I love the fact that some of the Australian ladies have actually brought a sewing machine over, and they're running a sewing class right here to teach the teacher how to sew so that she can then teach the students. Very cool.
building the school was really interesting. I couldn't believe how quickly the old school was stripped, moved and replaced. How quickly everybody got into the act of the new school. And the chaps in the village here just pitched in. They seemed to know exactly what they were doing, and I've never seen a tomahawk used in so many different ways before.
Send us your details and we'll flick you some information on dates for our upcoming trips. Each trip we work with the cows.
No number.
We work with the local school. Plant or cut king grass. And do what I think's the world's fastest donation, the rice runs.
Big smiley face.
In fact, last time we donated 7.5 tonnes of rice to families in the village. So come and join me in Cambodia and let me show you around this special part of the world on a trip that you'll never forget. Or if you've got a few dollars to spare, we would love any donations to help us continue our work over here in Cambodia. Head to the website to donate, and don't forget, we're fully tax deductible. Thanks so much for your support and allowing me to do what I do here in Cambodia.
You're seeing the real Cambodia. You're seeing how people live. You're not just seeing temples and the fun stuff and the touristy stuff. You're seeing the nitty-gritty Cambodia, and it's just so amazing.
Thanks for supporting Cows for Cambodia, and don't forget, if you want to join me in Cambodia, I do 4 fundraising trips every single year, and it's a travel experience like nothing else. Cowsforcambodia.com has all the info.